Imagine living a life unaffected by the chaos of the world, resistant to the urban flow of fortune and strong enough to withstand the difficulties that life will surely bring your way. It sounds like an impossible dream, doesn't it? Would you believe me if I told you that the key to that kind of life has been around for thousands of years, just waiting for you to find it? Welcome to a very special video, a complete guide to the world of Stoicism. We are frequently carried away by the waves of emotions, distractions, and worldly desires in our chaotic modern lives, which are often accompanied by nalsa and hurriatoyum. Offers a way to find inner peace, self-control, and mental toughness. It is firm and immovable like a rook, mastering the art of letting go. The ferret thing we need to do on the read. You will learn not only how to sell the difference between things you can control and things you can't, but also how to let go of the things you can't control. We can clear out our inner and outer worlds through totalum and minimalism, making room for more meaningful activities, making room in our lives for what really counts is the first step. The next step is to strength our willpower. Building self-discipline is the Stoic way to become great. It's about developing values, controlling your urges, and living a life that doesn't. About 10 strong lessons that will give you the mental toughness you need to get through life's big waves. Being optimistic. The point is to build strong mental models that help follow society's ever-changing whims, but indeed follows unchanging principles head on. That's wars. The mind that can't be broken comes in. We're going to talk that make you happy. Now that we are focused, we face the problems in life. You stay strong when things go wrong. Last but not least, get ready to free your mind. You will learn 10 life-changing ision from Stoicism that will help you break free from the lists you put on yourself. You can take control of your emotions and actions, and if you know how to pull the right mental buttons, you can become drastically impervious to the chain of the world by following the solo sevis viel diacus. Today, it gives you a pesci and happiness that nothing outside of yourself can take away. It's a trip to learn the art of living a life full of virtue, knowledge, and unbreakable strength. Now take a deep breath, prepare to learn full, more confident, and gain freedom as we explore the modem day Stoics. Knowledge. What if you woke up in a peaceful place where everything you own has a place and a purpose? Your heart is happy and your mind is clear. You know that the only things you can control are your thoughts and deeds, so you can face the storms of life with a strong heart. It's not impossible to reach these seemingly impossible goals. In fact, the philosophies that were created hundreds of years apart. Welcome to minimalism, and way to a meaningful bile is at the heart of both minimalism and stoicism. 2 Stoicism. Letting go for meaningful. In this video, we'll start a journey that will help you find a life that you not only have but also love. First, let's talk shout the growing modem minimalist trend. Minimize more than just a style. Out getting rid of the things that aren't important, the jerk that makes our thoughts and places heavy, and focused on the things that make our lives better. Mom started as an art trend that emphasized dream and simplicity. In the middle of the 20th century, I slowly crept into many areas of culture, such as it slowly crept into many areas of culture such as music, building, and way of life. People are coming to minimalism to get back their time, space, and focus. They are discovering that getting rid of the physical mess helps them build relationships, follow their hobbies, and enjoy a level of depth that material things can't provide. Now let's go back in time to the busy streets of ancient Athens, where Stoicism first appeared around the 3rd century BC. The minimalism Stoicism is about making things simpler, but its main focus is on making things simpler. Inside, the philosophy teaches that the best way to live a happy life is to build self-control, logic, and ethics. Stoicism helps people figure out what they can control and what they can't. It encourages people to focus on what they can control and let go of what they can't. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epicurus, 3 Stoic philosophers, taught us that what makes us happy is not what is happening around us, but rather our perceptions and responses to it. Letting go is what connects minimalism and Stoicism. Minimalism tells us to get rid is to build self-control, logic, and ethics. Stoicism helps people figure out what they can control and what they can't. It encourages people to focus on what they can control and let go of what they can't. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epicurus, 3 Stoic philosophers, taught us that what makes us happy is not what is happening around us, but rather our perceptions and responses to it. Letting Go is what connects minimalism and Stoicism. Minimalism tells us to get rid of unnecessary things in our bodies, and Stoicism teaches us how to let go of mental loads and ties. Both philosophies are based on the idea that there is freedom in simplicity and separation, which means freedom to live a meaningful, happy life. We will learn a lot about the subtleties of both minimalism and Stoicism, and we'll talk about where they came from, what they stand for, and how they can improve people's lives. We will also talk about how to apply these philosophies to our everyday lives and compare and contrast them. And anecdotes will show us how these ideas have changed the lives of real people. Finally, talk about what we have learned and encourage you to start using parts of minimalism and Stoicism that work for you as we begin this illuminating trip through the worlds of minimalism and Stoicism. Get ready to have your ideas about what it means to live a fulfilling life. Challenge to live a meaningful life. You need to plan ahead, be good, and be brave enough to let go of what isn't important. Let's go down this road together. Now let's get into the first part of our conversation, which is about what minimalism is. The minimalist movement as we know it today did not start by itself like many other art forms that came out in the late 1950s and early 1960s. It has its roots in music and visual arts. It was not thought that art had to be complicated in order to be meaningful, so these types of art focused on using simple things. As time went on, this ideas changed into living minimalism. People started to question the consumerist culture that ruled society in the early 2000s, which is when minimalism became popular as a way of life. They wanted a life that was less complicated and more meaningful without all the things that come with it. This is where the modern minimalist movement got its start. It's a reaction to the excesses of capitalism and the search for happiness beyond material wealth. The fundamental principles that underpin minimalism will now be discussed in greater detail. To begin with, minimalism is all about making things easier. It means getting rid of the extra, the pointless, and the annoying things so that you can focus on what really counts. This could mean getting rid of junk in your house, making your schedule more manageable, or even cutting back on social media. Making a space in your mind and body that shows your values. Priorities is what it's all about. This is the second core principle. Being mindful, making choices about what to keep and what to let go of is an important part of minimalism. It's not just about getting rid of things. Does this add value to my life? Does this align with my goals and values? Is what intentionally means. It means living with a purpose instead of just sliding through. He's about making decisions that show what kind of you want to live. And the third aspect, quality, is more important than number. People in a contact culture are often told that more is better. This idea is questioned. Right things instead of collecting a bunch of useless things. It's better to put your money into good things and relationships that will less. Let's look at the many advantages of leading a simple lifestyle. While keeping these principles in mind, to begin, minimalism can help you think more clearly. Getting rid of trash and other things that get in the way can help us concentrate and be creative. Not having to deal with the chaos around us frees up our minds to think more clearly and make better choices. Financial freedom is another huge gain. By planning what we buy and putting quality over number, we can cut down on spending a lot that isn't necessary. There may be savings, less debt, and the ability to spend money on meaningful activities and hobbies. The environmental impact of minimalism is also favorable. Our carbon impact get a smaller. We use less. Making and throwing away things are two of the main things that hurt the earth. We are not only any live better when we choose to live with less and make decisions that are good for the world. When we do so, as with any trend, though minimalism he is share of bad press and misunderstandings. One complaint that is often made is that being able to choose to live with less is a luxury that not everyone can enjoy. Some people also that nihilism can turn into another form of consumerism if people keep buying new minimalist things to replace the ones they already have. Some people also think that minimalism means living with very little, or that it's an answer that works for everyone. It's important to remember that minimalism is not a rule but a tool. This is a way to make a life that fits your values and priorities and can be changed to fit your needs and tastes. Although these complaints are important to look at, it is important to remember that minimalism is not a goal. Instead, it is a process of self-discovery and purpose. It's not a rigid set of rules, but a philosophy that can be changed to fit different wants and ways of life. Minimalism doesn't expect us to be perfect. Instead, it pushes us to make progress and be aware how we make. In the same way, minimalism shouldn't just be seen as in the core principles of purpose, and focusing on quality over number can be motivating for people from social groups. Even though some parts of minimalism may be easier to adopt those in a more stable financial situation, it can be about making the most of what you have and being happy With simplicity, no matter how many things you have to clear up the false idea that minimalism means living a simple or poor life, it is also important to note that minimalism is not always about having a certain number of things. Finding what is meaningful and getting rid of what lent is what it's all about. For some, this could mean a home with only the things they need, while for others it could mean a carefully chosen collection of things that make them happy and serve a purpose. Thanks a lot. The philosophy of minimalism is deep and alive, and it's more than just getting rid of stuff. It's about making a lives with meaning, purpose, and happiness by focusing on quality, simplifying, and making smart choices. Minimalism helps people get clear on their thoughts, be 1303, financially free, and protect the earth. But like any philosophy, it has its critics and people who get it wrong. You should go into minimalism with an open mind, knowing that it wand in many ways to create a meaningful life. As the movie goes on, the old lowledge of Stoic philosophy, and see how, like minimalism, it can help let go of the extra in our lives, both outside and in Elda. Our discussion will focus on the arts and differences between these two philosophies, so well as see how they can be used together to make our lives more fulfilling. Stay tuned as we go on a trip through time and thought, pulling apart the threads of Stoicism and minimalism and stitching them into a fabric of happiness, purpose, and purpose. This is a call to rise to a life that is lived with awareness, integrity, and meaning, not just to purge or to be stoic in the face of hardship. May this trip make you think, question, and open up to the endless possibilities that lie in the simplicity and wisdom of Stoicism and minimalism. As we leave the modem rooms of minimalism, let us go back in time to the world of ancient times where Stoicism began. Stoicism is a school of Greek philosophy that began in Athens in the early 3rd century BC. The Stoic philosophy was founded by Xenophon of Siloam, who taught from the stone poil, a painted porch. Then in ancient Rome, Stoicism became very popular and was one of the most important philosophies during the Roman Empire. Seneca, Epicus, and Marcus Aurelius are the three most important people in Stoic philosophy. In his letters and writings, Seneca, Roman politician, and talks about how Stoic ideas can be used in everyday. The Epicus, a famous Stoic teacher, was born as a slave in what is now Turkey. His Ideon and Discourses are important works that provide useful type on living a good life. Last but not least, Marcus Aurelius, who was emperor of Rome, is sometimes called the philosopher king. His Meditations, which he wrote while in the army, show what he really thought about right and wrong, duty, and the meaning of life. The first of the Stoic principles that clans our attention is reason. To the Stoics, reasoning and the most important things in the world. They stress the importance of using logic to understand and get around in the world. People thought that this logical way of thinking would lead to virtue and peace because it let people make choices that were in line with nature and morality. The second item is that you can control how responses happen. For Stoics, there is a clear line when what we can control and what can't. We have complete control over our ideas, perceptions, and deeds, but we cannot influence the outside world. We can stay calm in tough situations by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't. The third principle is to seek virtue as the best thing that can happen. Stoic virtue includes knowledge, bravery, justice, and